We're going to wait for the group to grow a little bit and then we will get started. We're excited to have everybody here. I'm Maddie Glab. I'm one of the team reporters for the Buffalo Bills. I love all of the blue and red that I'm seeing right now. If you guys want to turn your cameras on, that's going to be the best way to do this whole thing. Andre wants to see everyone when they're asking questions. So if you would like to turn your cameras on, that would be encouraged. We're going to wait for the group to grow because I think we have about 25 people on with us today. So we'll wait a couple minutes here and then we're going to get started.
Everybody's ready for the game today?
I love it. I love seeing all the jerseys and stuff.
I like it. I like it.
Like the hats. And I'll explain Run a Show too while we're waiting for everyone to join in. So we'll start off with a quick Q&A. I'll introduce Andre. We'll get going. But the most exciting part of this call is for everyone to have the chance to ask Andre some questions. So if you guys have any questions, what you'll do is you will scroll down on your Zoom window. There is a chat box. You'll hit the chat box and you'll type your first and last name into the chat box. And then I will then call on you and you will be unmuted and you can ask the question. So if you have more than one question, cool. We're going to get to as many as possible. We have about till 10:30. So lots of questions are encouraged. Any questions are encouraged. This is supposed to be a fun conversation. Okay. Shall we get started, Andre?
Sure, shoot, let's go. Let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. Well, again, I'm Maddie Glab, one of the team reporters with the Buffalo Bills. And of course, we have Andre Reed on here, Bills legend, Hall of Famer. He was drafted by the Bills in 1985 in the 4th round, was one of the top receivers while he was on the Bills. So just want to welcome everybody into our virtual tailgate series, Breakfast with the Bills, presented by Connect Life. And I'll give you a quick summary of what Connect Life is here. It supplies 70% of Western New York's blood for the 1 in 7 people in our local hospitals who need it. And did you know that blood has a shelf life of just 42 days? So they need your donation today and every day year round for the thousands of neighbors who are counting on it. Help save a life of a fellow fan by donating blood with Connect Life, the only local blood center that keeps all the blood right here in Western New York. So a pretty exciting Sunday here. It's week 3. It's a home game. It's like 75 degrees outside at the end of September. It smells and feels like it could be a Bills win today. Bills against the Rams. The Rams are coming in here from the West Coast. They're undefeated. The Bills are undefeated. It'll be a good test for both teams. So happy to have Andre Reed on with us. He had 4 1,000-yard seasons, scored 86 touchdowns during his career with the Bills, and I'm sure you guys have so many questions for Andre, but before we get started, I've got a couple for him. So Andre, you've seen the first 2 Bills games. I mean, what is your excitement level going into this game? You're living on the West Coast. There might be some buzz in LA with the Rams and how they've had a hot start to their season as well. But just watching the Bills through week 1 and week 2, what are your thoughts about this team so far?
That's a great question. I see a lot of confidence, on all sides, both sides of the ball, special teams. It looks like, what Brandon Beane and what Sean McDermott have been doing over the last 4 or 5 years since they've been here. I think Brandon's been here for 4 years now, and Sean's been here 4 years, so they've been here pretty much the same amount of time. They brought a new culture into Buffalo, and I think what's expected of the team, what's expected of the players is being shown out in the first 2 games so far. I know everybody. See, living on the West Coast, it's a little different. Buffalo fans, there's no better fans in sports than in Buffalo. They live and die with their team, with this city, with the players. But out in California, there's so many different things going on. When I talk about, the Bills, obviously I'm excited to talk about them. But out there, they got so many different other teams out there. It's a lot different when it comes to fans in California than there is here. So I dig them a lot, and a lot of them ask me, "Are you still a fan of the Bills?" And I'm like, that's like saying if I'm. That's the dumbest question ever. Of course, I mean I bleed red, white, and blue. So I'm very excited about this. Like you said before, Maddie, this is going to be a pretty good test today against a team who offensively is good, defensively is good. A lot of keys to the game for them to win this game. Obviously, they can't make the mistake at the wrong time. Mistakes are against good teams. Mistakes are very vital not to make, because good teams capitalize on your mistakes. Aaron Donald is going to be a problem. We got to be able to corral him as much as we can. And Josh right now, who's leading the league in yards and a lot of different categories after 2 weeks. I think he just has to keep doing what he's doing. It's a big test for him going against a good secondary, and just play what he knows how to do and not try to do too much. Once you start trying to do too much, keep putting the ball in the playmakers' hands and Stephon and all the receivers, and let them do the work. And then when it's time for you to do what you have to do, that's when you step up. But don't lose the game. And I think he's definitely learned a little bit of that the first 2 weeks, and since last year too. So really like the progression of what he's doing, and looking forward to a big game this week, and today.
Since Breakfast with the Bills is a virtual tailgate, I've got to ask you a couple tailgating questions. Now that you're retired and not a player anymore, how does the feel of a season change?
I still get excited on Sundays. I mean, it's in my blood. When you do it as long as I have, since I started playing football when I was 6, and I didn't stop playing until I was 37. So that's 31 years of your mind and your body just getting ready for the fall football season every year. So that's it was a little bit of adjustment probably the first 5 years I was out of the league, because you're still in that mode of getting ready for training camp and going to training camp and preseason games in the season. So but as the years went on, and obviously that dissipated, and now I'm just a fan like anybody else. You ask any of the other players, they're just fans of the game. I'm a Bills fan for life, and that's I want to see them do well every single game. And again, today is a real big test for them, so I'm looking forward to a good game.
If you're going to be at a tailgate in a different world, I know we're all virtual right now, but do you have any tailgating rituals, any favorite tailgating traditions if you're going to participate in one?
Yeah, you know what? A couple of the San Diego Charger games I went to, actually the Bills have been out there 2 or 3 times since I lived out there, and got together with some people. And I don't think they're the people in this stadium and the people in the parking lots are big on people jumping off of Winnebagos and on tables and squirting each other with mustard and ketchup. I don't think they don't go for that too much. But what the Bills fans are like no other. Bills Mafia, man, you can't be how the passionate they are. All the people on the Zoom call are very passionate about their team, about their city, and want to see their team do well. So I try to bring that out to the West Coast. And when the Bills come out in the West Coast, I'm sure I try to get to every single game when they're out on the West Coast, and all the other places I go to. So I've been to a few games over the years in different places.
It's nice to know that Bills Mafia reigns. One of the Rams players, you all know him by name, Jalen Ramsey, actually said he was going to miss Bills Mafia today because they definitely give him a lot of time if they were going to be in Bills Stadium.
Yeah. Jalen's a great player, and I think he backs up his words on how he plays. and the Rams feed off of his energy. So, we gotta go at him. Like guys like that, you gotta go at. And I think it'll be a great matchup with him and Stephon today to see how Stephon does against Stephon's a number one receiver and Jalen's a number one corner. So that'll be a very interesting battle all game today.
Yeah, it's going to be great. All right, we're going to get to some of our questions. Some of our crowd has some questions. And guys, if you have any questions, just go ahead and type your first and last name into that chat box. We'll get to as many as possible. We have quite some time, so feel free to ask whatever. But our first one is Patrick Morgante. If you want to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question, we're ready for you.
Hey, Andre, how you doing?
Good.
So, was there ever a player that you always look forward to going against?
Definitely. There was a bunch of players that I knew that I had to have my lunch with me. I had to have everything in the bag. I had to have the sandwich. I had to have the snack. I had to have the apple. And I knew that film study was very important for me to get an edge to win against these guys. Guys like Rod Woodson and Deion Sanders, Darryl Green, these are all Hall of Famers. And I knew if I was playing against those guys that week that not only I had to do extra film study, but I had to do extra film study on them. So it was always going to be a great test for me when I played against, quality players like them. And again, they're in the Hall of Fame for a reason. So, I had to do my homework, no doubt about it.
That's awesome.
Andre, do you think that's how Stephon Diggs is going into this game, knowing that he's going up against a talented corner in Jalen Ramsey?
Of course.
You have to do extra film study this week because you have one of the best in the league that's going to try and stop you all game.
Yeah, because you're always going against, you go against guys like that, they don't stay the same every single game. They do different against different receivers. Jalen will play different against, the receivers against different corners. He'll run a route a little bit differently. And that's what the whole week does. Like me and Jim, if I was playing a guy twice, I'm not going to run the same route on him the same time 2 times, the same time twice. When we play him again, I got to do the route, but I got to run it differently so he doesn't see. So it's a game. It's a cat and mouse game. So I'm sure that he's watched film on him on how he takes a drop at certain splits. You got to watch the splits. Where is he lining up at? Because as a corner where a receiver lines up at that, make that, the light bulb goes on. If it's inside, you think he's going to go outside. If he's outside the numbers, he has all the room inside. So that's the thinking game that you got to be able to deal with. And I'm sure both of them have done extra film study this week to play against each other.
Definitely. All right, Laura, you have our next question. If you want to unmute yourself and ask it, we are ready for you.
Good morning.
Hey, Laura, I like your hat. Love your hat.
Thanks. I was at Super Bowl 25.
All right.
And 27.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's awesome.
I don't know if you remember, my dad used to have the big buffalo at the end of our driveway.
That was him?
Yeah. That was my dad. Yeah.
Is it still there?
No, it isn't.
Oh.
No, we had to move it.
Oh, okay. But you still have it though, right?
No, we don't have it. The owner actually took it, that made it.
Oh man. Hey man, if you still got that buffalo, return it to him, man.
Oh.
That's not good.
Anyways, my question is, what are your thoughts on keeping the stadium where it is or moving it?
I guess that question has been going on for a while. If that's been
your name is on the wall there.
Yeah,
it's history.
I'm pretty old school. I like things to stay the way they are. I think what Terry has done is of renovating the stadium in a lot of different ways. I think that's fine. I don't know. There's a lot of political and red tape that goes to bringing a stadium to a place and having it being voted in by the state, by everybody. There's a lot of red tape. So that's yet to be seen. Where it's at right now, I know some of the people want it down in downtown Buffalo, down here by the lake. But the stadium's only 15 minutes from downtown. I don't see the difference. I think being in Orchard Park, it's been there for what, 60 years now, maybe 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
I think it's fine there, but I don't know the ins and outs of why they would, bring it here or bring it to the, downtown. So I'm pretty cool with it being in Orchard Park.
Thanks for the question, Laura.
My pom-pom is from the divisional playoff game from January 15th, 1994.
Wow.
Go Bills.
There you go. Then you got to get that Buffalo back.
Yeah. We'll try.
You got the pom-pom. I mean,
yeah.
You got to get the Buffalo back.
Okay.
All right,
we'll work on it.
Okay.
Thanks, Laura. Our next question is Steve Catalano. Steve, if you want to unmute yourself, we are ready for the question.
Which one, Steve?
Are you ready with the question?
Right. Oh, sorry.
We can hear
It's
you.
a little tougher now.
You got it.
Can you see us?
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
All right.
There you go. I got you. There you
We're
go.
having a tough time. I just wanted to ask you how you see this offense evolving compared to what you guys do in the 90s. I know it's not the same as a cave gun, they're not running constantly, but how do you see Josh evolving with this and our offense being able to put up some big points against teams consistently?
Yeah, well, I mean, they got to score a lot of points. There's no doubt about it. They got the personnel to do that. They got a quarterback that can throw it downfield. They got the receivers. There's no reason why we can't, and I say we, but there's no reason why this team can't score 25 to 30 points a game. At least 22 to 30 points a game. That would put them up there in the upper echelon of scoring in the league. So it's just a matter of them staying healthy, and that's always hard to do. Can I compare them to our offense? I don't. Probably not. I don't think there was too many offenses like that ever in history of the game. And I'm being biased, of course, because we had 4 or 5 Hall of Famers on offense on that team. So it's I think they got to be able to work together, number one. Play calling at the right time. I think Brian Dabble has done a great job of play calling so far. And these guys got to execute the plays. They got to execute what's being called. And each individual player has to, take into a hand that he's the guy this play, and he's got to make the play. So confidence is a big thing with this offense. And if they have that every single game coming in, and then they perform that way, then that's a pretty good win for pretty good thing for winning. Pretty good solution there.
Steve, thanks for the question. That brings up a good point. Andre, how have you seen the game change from when you were playing in the NFL to where it's at right now?
The game's changing in every facet, all the way from the top to the bottom. I think, it's always the last probably 15, 20 years, the passing has become more and more and more. It's evolved more and more. You see receivers now catching 100 balls. It's like, it's not a big deal anymore. When I played in the 90s, you catch 100 balls, you're like, that. I mean, it's still an accomplishment, but you only had maybe 10 guys that catch 100 balls, maybe even less in the league. Now there's 15, 20 guys that catch 100 balls a year, and a lot of them are tight ends. So the game has become more fast on the outside, more fast on the inside. It's become more analytic too. So, and that makes, the offenses score more points.
Very true. Very true. We're scoring 29 points a game right now is what we're averaging, which is up almost 10 points from last season. So a great way for the Bills to start the season. Our next question is from Norm. Norm, whenever you're ready, we are ready for you.
Hey guys, how are you today?
Good. How are you, Norm?
Good. Ottawa, Canada here. I got a next gen fan just popping in and out.
Ottawa.
There she is.
Hey.
Um,
And this is
Sapphire.
okay, Sapphire. Yeah. So I've noticed like Josh Allen and the boys, they're having a lot of fun. You know, Allen joined into a Zoom meeting the other day, just having fun with the boys, Brown and Beasley, and with the handshakes on the sideline and all that stuff. How important is it to have that sort of fun in the dressing room?
Oh, very important. I think in any workplace you go in, you want to walk into somewhere where you not only feel good, but you feel good about the people that's in there with you. And especially in team sports, it's so important that the guys you see every single day and you go to battle with on Sunday, you're confident that these guys are going to be there for you no matter what. If you're winning, if you're losing, if you know, I need a pickup, I need this, I need that. These are the guys that become your family. And when I played, it was like that locker room was sometimes more than my family because it gave me a sense of, you know, belonging even differently than in my own, you know, family. So it's very important. That camaraderie is very important. That because a lot of times things aren't going to go well all the time. There's going to be some times where the road's going to be a little bit rough, and if you're like this in there, it makes it a little bit better. And you know, hey, I'm counting on you to do this, and I know you're counting on me. So it's like you said, like any workplace. You know, I'm going to give you a task. I'm counting on you to do this task. Because if you do it, then everybody else sees it, and it makes it better for everybody else.
All right, thank you so much.
Yep.
Thanks for the question, Norm. We'll move on to John Spoth. You have our next question. John, we can't hear you. It looks like you're unmuted, but we cannot hear you. If you want to try again. We will move on to Luca. John will try you in a second. So let's move on to Luca with the next question.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me. Hi, Andre.
Luka, what's up? Luka Doncic, man. I got you.
Or Luca Brasi, sleeps with the fishes.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Quick question. So how would you compare and how would you differentiate yourself from Stephon Diggs? And who would you rather play together, you or him, in your prime?
Who would I rather play? Or what was the last part of that question?
Sorry. Would you start yourself over him or him over you? You in your prime?
Oh, I'm starting me no matter what. Come on, man. Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, Stephon has proven himself in Minnesota. He's a good receiver. He's a top 5 receiver. He's probably top 7, 8 guys in the league. But I'd have to start me, no doubt about it. He's a good player, but
how would you compare?
I'm not going to short myself. What's that again?
How would you compare and how would you differentiate when you play as a wide receiver versus how he plays?
Yeah, the game's a lot different. I mean, you know, when you're going across the middle and Ronnie Lott's waiting for you, he's not gonna tap you. He's gonna try to, you know, put you through a wall. And I think one of the biggest differences now in the game is you can't touch anybody. 90% of the time, if you hit a guy coming across the middle, it's going to be a flag. When I played, there was no such thing as flags. It didn't happen that way. So the protection of the players is very evident of what they're doing the past 10 years, 15 years. It wasn't like that when I played. So you were just fair game out there. But you know, Stephon he's proven himself, and he's a deep threat. He's great with the ball after he catches it. So that's a pretty big plus to have, you know, when you're playing in the games that guy can go to he can take it to the end zone at any time.
Definitely. We're glad Stephon is on our team. Luca, thanks for the question. We'll go back to John. John, if you want to unmute yourself again, we can try the question a second time.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We
We
can hear you.
John. We can hear you.
All right, awesome. I was using the phone earlier, so that's what happened. But anyway, Andre, I'm a longtime Bills fan, been to the Super Bowl and all that. Obviously, you're the toughest wide receiver I've ever seen play the game.
Oh, thank you.
Definitely going to miss you at Jimmy's Old Town Tavern in Herndon. Any idea when you'd come back east?
Oh, Jimmy's, yeah. We had a pretty good time down there. And do you remember when the mayor was catching footballs with me? You remember that?
I don't think I was there that day, but yeah, you were there a couple times.
The mayor of the town was just like, got wind that I was there at the place watching the Bills game, and the mayor was like running routes in the street. That was funny.
Yeah. But anyway,
I should have had that on YouTube. That would have been good.
Yeah. So I loved your game against Houston. Obviously, the comeback game, 3 touchdowns in the second half. But if you had to pick like one big catch that you made in your career, could you pick one out right now?
No. That's I'd be here till at least tomorrow.
Right.
I mean, obviously that game was probably the best game. I played in some good ones, but the magnitude of what that game meant and how we came back and won the game, that's number one for me. It's top 5 probably in football ever. And to be a part of that game here in Buffalo was, it could have been anywhere, but it was in Buffalo, New York that comeback happened. So that was a lot of fun. That was a game to remember, no doubt about it.
Yep. Thanks for the question.
Andre.
You got it.
Yep.
Question for you, Andre. When you think back to your time in the NFL and just the length that you played, can you remember specific instances and catches and things like that? Or when you think back now, do you think as more of seasons as a whole and maybe some really big games?
That's a good question. I think it's a combination of both. A lot of times I'll see it one play and I'll already know what happened in the game. I'll know how many catches I had, how many yards, how many touches, whatever, just by one play. But it's more like you said, I think more on the side of looking at seasons now and how the team did. Because individually you can have great games, but football's a team sport. So I like to see the games that we played in, the comeback game, or even the game before that where we lost to Houston 24-3, and we had to play them in that game here in Buffalo the next week. So the mental part of that was like, well, we just got beat pretty good in Houston. How do we flip the script here in Buffalo and play better in front of our home fans? Because if we don't, we're going to get beat like we did the week before. So that part of it, I really love the mental aspect of the game, because it was, to me, 90% of the game is mental. Everybody at this level is good. They wouldn't be at this level if they weren't good. It's the guys that up here and have the heart to play. Those are the guys who are going to win.
Do you think this season, more than any, players have had to tap into that mental side more just because of COVID and because training camp has been shortened and there's no fans in a lot of stadiums right now? So how do you think that mental side, I guess, has been ramped up even more probably?
Absolutely. No preseason games. A lot of the rookies have been stripped of that to even play against somebody else. Training camps aren't like they used to be, where they go 6 weeks and they're 3 weeks in pads both days. So again, the game is more mental than the physicality of the game, especially in preseason and during training camp. These guys this year with COVID had to hit the ground running. You looked at the first 2 seasons, all these injuries. Saquon Barkley's out, Nick Bosa's out. So it's really important for these guys to take care of their bodies so they can even be on the field to play. And then the mental aspect of it, that speaks for itself. If you're not mentally prepared for a game, it doesn't matter what you do physically.
And Andre, before we wrap up, we're almost out of time, but some final thoughts on today's game and maybe what you think about the outcome.
Well, of course I'm here because I want to see a Bills win 3-0.
Heck yeah.
It's going to be a tough game, and I said earlier that every game has keys to the game. I think if Josh keeps playing the way he is, we definitely have a chance to win this game. When we have the plays to make, we have to make the plays. We can't miss too many plays. We're not going to corral Aaron Donald, but we can slow him down. And if we can keep him off of Josh and not make him move around a little bit too much and throwing off his leg and doing that, it should be should have a good chance.
Well, it'll be an exciting game. It all kicks off at 1 o'clock. Andre, thank you so much for joining us here on Breakfast with the Bills. And to all of our fans, we just want to thank you guys for joining in too and getting us pumped up for game day. We appreciate the time. It was a fun half an hour to kick off game day. Thanks also to Connect Life for supporting our virtual tailgate, Breakfast with the Bills. Don't forget to donate blood to help save the life of a Bills fan right here in Buffalo. And don't forget to check out our Bills fan boxes designed by your Buffalo Bills by visiting billsfanbox.com. Devin Singletary just dropped his this week. It's really cool. It's a red t-shirt. And of course, it's him on wheels because he is Motor Singletary. A portion of those proceeds, if you do buy one of the Bills fan boxes, it goes directly to benefit Connect Life. So thanks again, everybody. And we will see you next time. Andre, thank you again. Enjoy the game, guys.
Enjoy the game. Enjoy the game. Thanks. Go Bills. Go Bills.
Go Bills.